Since we've got a good-sized crowd early, we thought we'd start about 5:15 here. I'm just want to let you know that if you're looking for the NCAA men's basketball watch party, downstairs and to the left, okay? I'm Mark Hall. I'm the Black Rock Field Office Field Manager. I'm the 2019 Authorized Officer for the Burning Man event for the Bureau of Land Management. And tonight we're having this public meeting to discuss the BLM's draft environmental impact statement. We're going to have Chelsea McKinney from the BLM give a short presentation on sort of a summary of the draft EIS. Holly Prohaska, before that, will give a talk on the NEPA process and how you participate in it. Then Burning Man Project. Marnie, are you giving the talk? Okay, Marnie Benson will be giving a presentation. After Marnie's presentation, we're going to have about 30 minutes worth of open forum question and answer. The purpose of this is to answer questions. It's not intended to be a time for public debate nor public argument. And then second, after that 30 minutes or so, because we're still going to have time, you have to realize what's most important about the Bureau of Land Management's NEPA process is the regulations and policy requires written comments. So if you came wanting to read us a statement tonight, better yet, don't read it to us, stick your name and address on it, and our contractors in one of a couple of different locations, which Holly points out, will collect that from you. And in the time after the large-scale question and answer, will be available for one-on-one question and answer, and we want to work with you on getting your comments on paper. Whether you're pro, con, whatever, we want to do what's supposed to be done. Before we start, there's a couple of points I want to stress. The National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA as we call it shorthand, requires that the BLM looks at and discloses the potential impact to the human environment. The human environment includes not only the natural environment, but also issues and subjects like traffic, socioeconomics, Native American religious concerns, environmental justice, and other topics. This EIS is being done for two reasons. First, the existing permit ran out in 2016. Second, Burning Man Project applied for a new permit and wanted to potentially grow the event to 100,000 people. So that's why we're doing it this year. The other thing is, while there's been a lot of talk about the mitigations, you have to realize these are proposed mitigations and not all of them apply to all the alternatives. The regulations require that the BLM needs to look at all relevant, reasonable measures, even if they are outside our jurisdiction. The other point about these mitigations, since they're proposed, they can be viewed as talking points between the BLM, our cooperators, and Burning Man Project. So that also has to be kept in mind. And then finally, while there's talk about the Burning Man event being held on federal land, it is. It's just not any old federal land. It is a national conservation area. It is the Black Rock, High Rock, Emigrant Trails National Conservation Area. And it was created by Congress in 2000. This congressionally designated NCA and Congress tasked the BLM with conserving, protecting, and enhancing the NCA for current and future generations. The congressional legislation also puts a few more protections in place for the NCA, and so does the current resource management plan for the NCA. For example, the NCA is withdrawn from mining. oil and gas leasing, new rights of ways, and other leases. So that's all I've got to say. The show will begin, and Holly, your turn.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. I am going to give just a brief presentation on the NEPA process. What we've been doing so far in the NEPA process. Hi. Can you hear me now?
Louder,
Right.
Charlie.
What's your name?
My name is Holly Prohaska, and I'm with the NPSI. And Mark introduced me earlier. I'm going to go through the NEPA process, what we've been doing so far with the NEPA process, and what we have yet to do to get a decision by the end of the summer. All right. So Mark went through a little bit about the NEPA process, but again, the National Environmental Policy Act requires federal agencies to undertake an assessment of environmental impacts whenever a federal action is taken. In this situation, the BLM is deciding whether or not to renew a special recreation permit for the event. There are two major purposes of NEPA, and that is to make informed decisions, but also to involve the public, such as all of you. Okay, so the NEPA process for this project began really on our end back at 2017 during the event. That's where we started to draw up our baseline studies after earlier in 2017, ERC had submitted their proposal for the proposed action. So during the 2017 event, there were several studies that were done. We took measurements for air resources with air monitoring equipment. We analyzed traffic impacts. We analyzed the noise environment. We also did an artificial light at night assessment. And we also looked at day use visual resources and the impacts of the event around the area. In addition to that, we started collecting data and developed a baseline for biological resources. And we followed that up by putting together a public health and safety report. Now, all of those items are on e-planning for you to review. I hope you've commented on them. We also have e-planning up at a station, at a table in the back here, where you can actually go in and review and provide comments as you're sitting here. Okay? So while we were pulling together that information, all of the information we collected during that event, we decided to go out to the public in December of 2017 and solicit your input. And many of you showed up to our meetings, and we received many comments and identified issues that were preliminary for us to start formulating the types of alternatives we might look at in this environmental impact statement. When we got all of those comments pulled together, we had a cooperating agency meeting and solicited their input and went over the comments with them. And then from that point on to about June of 2018, we formulated a comment assessment report. We evaluated socioeconomic data that we had pulled together. We also went out for socioeconomic workshops and compiled that information that we received from agencies, local and other agencies involved in the assessment area. So while we were pulling all that together, the BLM team was pulling together their briefing packages to go through the various steps that had to take place before a notice of intent could be published, starting off the official public scoping process. And that happened in June of 2018. So in June of 2018, the BLM stated their need for action and some preliminary alternatives. That started off the public scoping period, which again, we went out to the public and we had public meetings, and many of you attended and provided more input. And all of that information was pulled together after a 45-day public scoping period and pulled together into a public scoping report. pulling together the draft EIS. So with the public scoping comments, we evaluated the issues that were raised. We started to develop alternatives. These alternatives had to address the issues, but also meet the purpose and need of the project. In the end, we ended up with 5 alternatives that were developed for this draft EIS for all of you to comment on. And then we went and had a review with the cooperating agencies to receive their feedback on the preliminary EIS. That EIS went through a couple of reviews. It went through field office and state office BLM review. It went through Washington office BLM review. It went through solicitor review and legal counsel. And a briefing was pulled together to finally publish this EIS, and that is what you are all reviewing at this point. So that was finally made available March 15th, 2019. The comment period lasts for 45 days, and during that comment period, we solicit public input again. So for a third time, we've come out. It looks like you're all engaged, and we're very happy to get many comments as we can. We have this meeting tonight, and then we have another meeting tomorrow night in Lovelock. So hope to see as many people there as we are seeing tonight. The comment period does end April 29th, and so we would love to receive your feedback before that day. We are also going to be meeting with our cooperating agencies again. Okay, so now we're caught up. This is where we're at. What do we have to do? We have a lot of work to do in the next few months here. So we're going to, as soon as the public comment period closes, we're going to pull together all the public comments. We're going to evaluate comments for substantive comments, issues that are relevant to the proposed action. We are going to revise the EIS based on these comments. And then at this point, the BLM is going to identify a preferred alternative. And we're going to pull that together in the final EIS. That final EIS will go out for public review. And we're hoping to get that done in June with a record of decision later in the summer before the event starts in 2019. So we have a lot left to do. We love all your comments. And I would like to just provide a little bit of information here. All of this information is on those handouts, the public comment cards that are around the tables in the room. There is several of them on the commenting table over here where you can fill them out and just drop them in the box. And you can also email comments. You can hard mail comments as long as they are postmarked by the 29th. And you can also go on e-planning and submit your comment immediately into the database for the EIS. All right, so Chelsea is going to come up and give you just more of an overview of what the proposed action is and the project.
Before I start, I guess, is if everyone at the door, if you guys could start funneling this way, because it's kind of getting clustered, and just for safety, if you guys could start moving this way, that would be great. There is some room up here up front. Thank you. conservation planner for the Black Rock Field Office. And I want to say thank you all for coming to the NEPA meeting. The following presentation is for Black Rock City LLC, or now Burning Man Project, Burning Man Special Recreation Permit Renewal, Draft Environmental Impact Statement. The following is a brief presentation, and after I'm done talking, Marty will come up and give a presentation on behalf of Burning Man. Black Rock City LLC is applying for a special recreation permit to produce the Burning Man event in the Black Rock High Rock Immigrant Trail National Conservation Area. The National Conservation Area is administered by the Black Rock Field Office, Winnemucca District of the U.S. Bureau of Land Management, or BLM. The request is for a 10-year permit, 2019 to 2028, with a maximum event population of 100,000 people. The Burning Man event is a 9.5-day annual gathering in the NCA in northwestern Nevada. 7 different environmental assessments have analyzed the potential impacts associated with the event. The most recent environmental assessment was completed in 2012, resulted in a mitigated finding of no significant impact, or a FONSI, and covered the event through 2016. Paid participant population was capped at 70,000 participants in the 2012 decision. For the 2017 and 2018 events, since the population was held at 70,000, the BLM prepared a determination of NEPA adequacy in each year. Since 2012, BRC has met post-event inspection criteria and reporting requirements. BRC was found non-compliant for a population overage in 2013. In 2018, 4 non-compliance orders were issued for violations stemming from population overage, fuel storage, airport phone numbers, and Tier 1 notifications. The BLM has determined that an environmental impact statement is most suitable level of NEPA for analyzing the impacts of the proposed action and alternatives. BRC has paid into a cost recovery account for the BLM in excess of $300,000. Additionally, they have paid in excess of